right, let's give Stanaker and staff a round of applause for hosting us here today. I'm Councilmember James Rodriguez, and honored and privileged to represent Stanaker in this neighborhood. And I can tell you it's such a privilege to be here today in this wonderful facility. This was one of the first projects I worked on with then Mayor White, and I can tell you it was an exercise in negotiating skills at the time, because the city didn't have, and we're still, challenged sometimes financially, but this was something that Mayor White and I negotiated with, and I can tell you that these projects don't come along too often, but there was a need in this community, and it was really special to be here today. I can't express my excitement because with term limits, we don't ever get to see projects sometimes completed, and this project, this major renovation in this neighborhood, is completed on time and on budget. And so I want to thank the mayor for being here, Dr. Lawson, and Representative Alvarado. We have a few speakers today that are going to share some thoughts about Stanaker, and I can tell you that this was a great project, a great undertaking, and $3.2 million later in CDBG funds and city funds and housing funds, I think it looks great. So again, thank you all for being here. And I can tell you that the staff is very excited. The community has responded tremendously to this project. If you look around, it's a very good use of space, and so you have a community room now, and so I understand the Civic Club and the Super Neighborhood has a place to meet now. We used to actually just meet kind of in the foyer before that, and so I'm really proud of that amenity, as well as a section for the teenagers. And if you notice, the teenagers and the adult room are separated. We can still keep an eye on the teenagers, and a place for the young kids. So that was my goal in making sure that we had amenities in the East End and Magnolia Park. I used to utilize this library when I was a kid, and I know Representative Alvarado did as well when she was a child. And that was our priorities, making sure that our community have amenities. It's not River Oaks sometimes, but there's no reason why we can't have facilities like that. And I wanted to make sure that our constituents had amenities in this district that they could be proud of, and so I'm really proud of this project. Before I go on, I want to also thank our mayor, because as I said, with term limits, you never know if your projects are going to stay in the queue. And Mayor Annise Parker has been a champion of libraries, of public amenities, and improving the quality of life for all of our residents. And so I want to recognize Mayor Parker and ask her to say a few words. Mayor Parker.
Thank you, Councilmember. It truly is a pleasure to be here. And one of the things that happens with term limits is that I get to stand and take credit for things that started under previous mayors. Let me acknowledge former Councilmember Felix Frog. It's so good to see you. We served together, and it's always nice. And then former Commissioner, pardon? We're still serving. Former Commissioner Garcia, former Controller Garcia, we served together also. So good to see both of you out here today. Libraries are important for community, and in some communities, libraries take on an even greater impact, where families may not have the resources to provide the kind of tools for study or the books that can transport their children into other worlds. Libraries open doors. Libraries open doors for imagination. Libraries open doors to new worlds. Libraries open practical doors, like for the training for jobs. You see the large computer section we have in here. Libraries help anchor communities. Libraries that have meeting spaces provide access to civic associations and neighborhood groups to come together and work on community projects. So libraries aren't just buildings. They're not just about the resources inside the facility. They're about the entire community and the needs of the community. This project was a combination of CDBG funds and our normal capital project dollars. And I want to thank all of you who voted for the city bonds in this last election. We had a library bond package on there, which passed. All the bonds passed overwhelmingly, but these are the kind of projects that happen from those bonds. And so when voters recognize that how important it is not just to have a facility, but to have a first-class facility in every neighborhood in Houston, it's important, and it makes a difference. So thank you for those of you who are involved in that. This library is special for a number of reasons. The council member talked about how many folks from the neighborhood will be using it. I know there are several elementary schools in the area, and if you come in here in the after school hours, you're going to see lots of kids here. But this library is going to be special for another reason. I've been talking with Dr. Lawson, and I think she'll mention it when she speaks, about doing a better job of capturing the history of Houston, the heritage of Houston, and a significant part of the history and heritage of Houston is our Latino community. That we need to have libraries strategically located that have an additional element of connection into the community. And in fact, she and I have been talking about formally in the next budget, I'm going to ask council to allow me to expand library services just a little so that we can finally put an archivist on staff who can focus on claiming the history of our Latino communities. And this neighborhood and this library will be a part of that effort. And so we're looking forward to that. I also wanted to note the fact that this library has been serving a library here, not this library, it's a new library, but libraries have been serving this community on this location for more than 60 years. Library is named for Nina Stanaker, who was an advocate for libraries very early on and worked hard to organize libraries in local schools, including in Edison Middle School, and that translated to her passion for having a Houston Public Library in this neighborhood. It's fitting that we kept the historic name of the library since she had so much of a role in the initial creation of the library. And Ms. Stanaker clearly understood the power of libraries, not just to open doors of imagination, but the difference that a library can make in an entire community. So don't have much else to say, just that make sure that you visit this library regularly. Libraries are, for more than 7 out of 10 Americans, a regular place that they visit. I want to see that everybody who's here today comes back to this library or your own local library, that you encourage our young people to come and spend time in libraries, explore all that libraries have to offer, from the books to the technology. And if everything we can do to plant the seeds of joy of reading in our children, that pays off. In fact, there's probably nothing we can do to give our children more chance for success than making them readers. It really is true that readers are leaders. And so anything that we can do to bring kids in, and doesn't anymore, I mean, I'm still connected to books. I don't want to read it on my Kindle. I want to read it in my hands. It doesn't matter. You just have to read. I actually did own a bookstore for 10 years, and so I love books. And I'm looking over here, I see Amazing Grace. That was one of my younger daughter's favorite books. Read that like 5,000 times. I'm going to read it again. But it's a great book. Wonderful book. But so, thanks for being here today. Thanks for being a part of this wonderful gift back to the community.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. And I'll be happy to carry a budget amendment for an archivist position, or we can just put it in the budget and we'll lead the charge on it. Thank you, Mayor. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Another round of applause for our Mayor, Reese Parker. And a funny story, so my first meeting with Bill White as a newly elected freshman council member, I asked for this library, and we got it. And so my first meeting with the mayor, I asked for a Dynamo Stadium, and we got it. So thank you, Mayor. That's 2 for 2 on opening meetings. You know, we can't do this without our partners to, build these type of facilities to work in the community. And so let me recognize a few of our elected officials that are also here. HCC trustee Eva Laredo, who's also a Magnolia resident. Eva, stand up and be recognized, please. My partner over at HISD, board member Manuel Rodriguez. Manuel. We have two of our precinct judges here from the East End in Magnolia Park, Mr. Richard Cortez, also representing Constable Trevino's office. Precinct judge from Mason Park, right down the road, Mr. Freddie Bronco is here. And there's several of our community leaders here that are representing the various civic clubs that are very active in our community, and I want to thank them for their support. First of all, thank you for sending me to City Hall to do this type of work, but also for your continued support and your advocacy, because that's who we listen to, are the people in the community, and they tell us what they need and what the community needs, what resources are lacking, and so and what the kids need, especially our seniors. So I want to thank you for your participation, and thank you for the counsel and the guidance, and we really do appreciate your calls, and even if they're complaints or things aren't going well, but that's how we know, and that's how we try to do our job. So without further ado, I want to bring up my good friend and my former boss. All of you know that I was chief of staff to then council member Carol Alvarado, and now Carol's gone on to the State House, and she's representing us there in Austin. But it was working in Carol's office where I got my understanding of municipal government, how to get things done, and how to protect our amenities in our community, but also the importance of libraries and making sure that our kids and our community members had places where they could come and be safe, where they could read, could have technology and access to information to better their lives. So without further ado, help me welcome State Representative Carol Alvarado.
Thank you, James, and congratulations to the community of Magnolia. Mayor, thank you for making sure that this project was done on budget, and I know it took us a little bit of time, and when James worked for me, we started working on this when I worked with Mayor Brown, and then James continued the work. You know, I've never been a fan of term limits because you don't, Mayor, you don't get to see a lot of the things that you worked on. And so James gets to come along and take some of the credit. But, you know, it's helpful when your successor is a friend and is willing to share the credit. But we started working on this when Lee Brown was mayor, started some of the initial phasing of it, and then once James came in and they pushed it along and it got done. I used to come here as a kid too. I would go between Melcher Library and Stanaker. If there wasn't something at Melcher, then I'd come here to Stanaker. And most of the kids that grew up in the East End, this was the place that we came. And you could literally travel the world here and not leave your community. And it helped us to become educated, to learn about things that we needed to learn about for school, but also to expose us to different cultures, to learn about history. And I'm glad to see that you're moving forward, Mayor, with an archivist that will study our history here from our community. But they'll have a jump start because Houston Community College has been taking the history of not only the East End, but Magnolia and families of Magnolia. So they've already got a jump start to that. We have a wonderful history to be told here in the East End community, and hopefully some of that history will be told right here in Stanaker. So congratulations to Councilmember Rodriguez and his team, and to the community. And Mayor, thank you for your support as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. And another note, enabled to get, when we were working to get the Dynamo Stadium built, Carol was actually on the team that negotiated the land deal to make that possible. So thank you, Carol, for all your hard work on the Dynamo Stadium. It's there because you were able to parcel the land. So thank you. Let's give her a round of applause again. Orange tie for tomorrow, yes. And the mayor actually proclaimed tomorrow as Dynamo Day in the city of Houston, so we want to have everybody wear orange tomorrow, show your orange and show support for our Dynamo. And you know, I'm actually going to have some of the Dynamo players come and read to the kids here, so we'll let you know when that happens. And hopefully they'll be third-time MLS Cup champions, and maybe they'll bring the trophy with them. Maybe they'll bring the cup. I don't know, but yeah, I do want to also recognize Dr. Lawson and her staff, and you're going to hear from Dr. Lawson in a minute, but she does have a committed core of great individuals who not only educate our kids, but are here as support. They manage the technology, the books, the materials, and they do a wonderful job. So we're all the library employees. Can you raise your hand if you work for our library department? Let's give them a round of applause for all their work. And I saw Mr. Tony Gonzalez here. Where's Tony? Tony was our general contractor on this facility. Tony, what a great job you've done. It's a beautiful facility. Let's give Tony a round of applause as well. And the engineering and design teams, and I'm sure Dr. Lawson will get into that. And our Director of General Services, Scott Minix, is here. Scott, thank you for keeping this project focused and on time. And it truly is a team effort, you know, and so I do appreciate all that Dr. Lawson has done and the Library Foundation has done in the district and making sure that we have quality amenities such as Stanaker. So without further ado, let me bring up Dr. Rhea Lawson. Doctor?
Well, hi everybody. Isn't this wonderful? You know, every time we open a new library, I think about the kids that are going to use that library and the smiles that are going to be on their faces and the sharing of books between caregivers and their children, and just the magic that happens when you introduce people who are looking for information and you match that need either with the story or the kind of information that they're looking for. So every time we open a library, we can imagine the lives that through the staff, through the technology, or through the printed word that are going to change lives. We believe that libraries change lives. And we're so happy that you're here today to acknowledge the importance of libraries and the importance of this library. And I wanted to just thank a few people that are here today. Certainly the mayor. Now, when I listened to the mayor just a few minutes ago, and I've been listening to her since every time she joins us in one of our programs, and she was getting better and better, and I asked her, could I hire her? She really loves libraries, and it comes through, and I feel so fortunate to lead a library where I have a mayor that gets it, that understands the importance. And even though sometimes the budget is struggling, she's always trying to find a way to push the work of the Houston Public Library forward. So I'd like to publicly thank you, Mayor, and ask you to help me thank her. I'd also I feel very fortunate to have a council member and a state representative that can come back to a place that they enjoyed as a child and then go off and do work to improve that place so that other children can enjoy it and other families. I think that is commendable, and I feel very honored to serve with you as library director and as public servants together, impacting a community. So thank you very much. There are members of the Houston Public Library Foundation board and staff here. I'd like to give a big thanks to them for being here. Because of the work that they do, we're able to bring to you programs and services that are over and above what the city budget can accommodate. So would members of the Houston Public Library Foundation and staff please raise your hand so people can see you? Would you help me thank them for the work that they do? So in this new space, there's a new team, this renovated space, there's a new teen area, a new gaming area, and public computers, self-service, and we reoriented the entrance so that it could be a safer space for kids to come. Wendy, where are you? I'd like to ask Wendy to join me at the podium. Wendy Heger and I have been working together at the library for almost 5 years. And I don't know, we've done 15 of these openings. And this is your last one. So I just wanted to give you a hug. Wendy is going to a public hug. And thank you for all of the impact that your talent and your commitment has made for the citizens of Houston, because you've dropped these kinds of spaces all over this city, and we want to thank you for that. Wendy has accepted a job and to further her career, and we're excited for her in her new position.
She's leaving?
Yes. No, she's going to be across the street at Page, Sutherland Page. Yes. And so we'll see her on Smith Street. I may grab her up every now and then.
Can we get her pro bono now?
Yeah. I'd like to thank our partners at General Services. Scott, you and your team always doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much. I think, well, I know that members of the design team were mentioned as English and Associates, and the team at the Gonzalez Group for the work that they did. For everybody that touched this project, I just want to say thank you. And finally, but not at all least, I'm pleased to introduce the staff who worked so hard to plan the services and experiences that you'll have at the Stanaker Library. Mella Langford, who is Director of Customer Experience, Shammy Gill, Team Leader for the Stanaker Neighborhood Library, and the staff who's ready to give you extra, to provide you with excellent customer service, led by Virginia Williams, who's the manager, and her team. Would you please all raise your hands so people can see you? The mayor mentioned that this library is going to be special for another reason. And we recognize that this library is located in Magnolia Park, a very historically significant part of the Latino community. And we wanted to make sure that the services and materials and programming that were a part of this community reflected the rich history of the Latino community. So I want you to know that the mayor is very supportive of helping us to make that happen, and we look forward to showing you, to serving you and showing you those services. Another part of that, we would like to continue to collect the rich oral histories so that we can add them to our oral history project that's already in existence, so that we can capture prominent Latino voices as well as residents who have lived in the community for a long time, so we can capture those stories and so they can live on. So we look forward to exciting times here at the Stanaker Library, and thank you so much for being here to help us celebrate this grand opening.
Thank you, Dr. Lawson. And Wendy, I want to publicly thank you as well for all of your help. Wendy Heger also helped me on the renovation of Melcher. We got that done. The Park Place improvements, Mancuso and Idison and Flores. And so I know Mr. Fraga, Felix was involved with that project as well. And so again, it's a great team. And let me recognize my District I staff, my Chief of Staff, Gracie Garces, Eva Lozano, Brad Ray. These are the people that field your calls, ladies and gentlemen. They do the heavy lifting and a lot of the background politics that allows us to be successful in the district. So thank you, team. I appreciate your hard work on this. And now to close us out with a benediction, let me invite my good friend, Father Kevin Collins from Immaculate Conception Church. And Father's very active in the community, especially with our young children and our seniors, and he understands the importance of libraries. And he's a great singer, so you may ask him for a song. And a sports fan. Father Collins.
That's right. Thank you. Well, this is my library, and I'm glad to have it back open again. And before it was open, I used to come over here. They actually have, I know we're in the children's section, but they had a great resource for scripture study here that I used to come and use all the time, and I'm looking forward to getting back at it. So anyway, so let's just bow our heads for a moment and pray. Merciful and loving God, you always taught us, especially your leaders, your kings, your prophets, and your other leaders, to be people of wisdom and understanding. Let this library, as we reopen it, be a source of wisdom and understanding for all who use it, from the youngest to the oldest. Let it be a place where people can come to know each other in meeting each other here, but also enjoy all the resources that are here to make their lives better and to be able to serve you better as they continue. All the families that will use this library, we ask you to bless them, bless our community, bless all those people who work so hard to bring this about in whatever capacity they did. And we ask this, for you are our God forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Father. Round of applause for Father Collins. Again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today and celebrating with us. This is a historic moment for our community. This is a wonderful landmark. Please continue to utilize this library. Renew your library cards if you haven't done so. Check out a book, use some of the amenities, and stay active with these folks out here, especially these children. I appreciate all that goes on out here in this community, in this facility. We're going to continue to advocate for more throughout the district. Mayor, I have 14 months in office, and you'll be seeing me quite regularly in your office asking for more as we move forward. But it's been a tremendous honor working with Annise Parker. She's been a very accessible mayor. She's done a tremendous job in helping me in District I. So, Mayor, thank you for all your support. It's been fun working with you, and I'm going to look forward to working with you in the next year, getting this budget passed and building on the quality of life. So we have refreshments in the community room, so we're going to ask you to join us over there and enjoy this library. It's yours. Thank you.